Welcome into Saints Now. I am Will Scott. I will be joined by producer Trace Gerard shortly because we are reacting to the first Saints preseason game. They have fallen to the Houston Texans by a final score of 17-13. It was a competitive first game, a close first game. You love to see that. Unfortunately, the Saints lost, but it's the preseason. You know, who cares? It's the preseason. Ian Book, 15 of 22, 121 yards, 1 interception. He played a majority of the game after relieving Andy Dalton. We'll get to Andy in a second. He looked pretty good. For the Texans, you saw Davis Mills look sharp early. He obviously did not play a lot. Jeff Driscoll, 16 of 26, 165 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions as the Saints defense definitely got the better of Driscoll. Abram Smith, UDFA, out of Baylor, 7 carries, 30 yards. He played pretty well, certainly showed some promise. I think we're all excited about Abram Smith. Now, this is why you subscribe, because we're going to be providing reaction videos to every single New Orleans Saints game this season, preseason and regular season. You don't want to miss it. Producer Trace does a great job getting you guys the info that you need about your Saints. Go down, hit that big red subscribe button, because we are trying to become the #1 New Orleans Saints channel on YouTube. Something that stood out to us from this game was Tony Jones Jr. Maybe he is going to be the RB3 on this team behind Ingram and behind Kamara. So this is what he did tonight against Houston. 7 carries, 27 yards. And you would think a lot of us are high on this guy. We've definitely seen the potential there, but he is a part of a very crowded running back room. Not everyone on this screen is going to make the team. Not to mention, they might trade or bring in a running back if Kamara is suspended. So we'll see what happens, but Tony Jones certainly has a lot of potential. We've seen that from him in a Saints uniform. We saw that again tonight, Trace.
Yeah, so I really liked what I saw from Tony Jones Jr. tonight. I thought that, it was really interesting that they went with Dwayne Washington as their starting running back tonight. Obviously this running back 3 battle is going to be pretty interesting. If you thought we were going to get answers today, that's just not going to happen from today's game. I mean, Abram Smith also looked really good. I liked Abram a lot tonight. I really liked what I saw from him up until the point where he got that fumble inside the 2-yard line. I think he had a really promising drive. I think he had a lot to show, but you just got to finish those drives. And so I think, obviously, you're not going to have a true RB3 right this second, but I think that Tony Jones Jr. looks like preseason Tony Jones Jr. that we've all, come to love over the time.
The stats don't really tell the full story. I mean,
no,
7 carries, 27 yards. I mean, people are going to look at that and be like, yeah, so what? He didn't score a touchdown. But Tony Jones certainly looked pretty sharp tonight for the Saints. Now, pick a third running back. Tony Jones, Dwayne Washington, or maybe Abram Smith, type other. Go down, let us know. It is the pinned comment on today's video. When ad break comes, go down, chime in. Are you going with Tony Jones, type TJ, Dwayne Washington, type DW, or other, type 0. Trevor Penning, obviously someone we've talked a lot about on the show. He didn't get into a fight tonight, luckily, but he definitely needs some work. This is what Luke Johnson said. Trevor Penning gets beat with an inside move by Ogbonnia Okaforo for a sack. That's been a bit of a weak spot for him throughout camp, and we saw that again tonight in the preseason. Gave up one sack, also called for a holding penalty of the rookie first-round pick out of Northern Iowa. Look, I mean, Trace, he's a first-round pick for a reason. He's very talented, but no surprise that there is still a lot of work to do on his front.
Yeah, I agree, because I think that Trevor Penning is a very quality left tackle. I think that he will eventually be able to fill that role very, very well. But what I will say is he is a rookie. You got to give him a little bit of slack. It's his first preseason game. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, he was anything super horrible and we should cut him and he needs to be benched. He shouldn't ever start a game ever. I just think that it's his first game. We knew that he was going to be kind of a project. We knew the ceiling that he may have, but we also know that there was going to be a lot of work that came with it. So it's just a matter of...
That's what the preseason's for.
Exactly. The preseason is for working out these kinks. I'm not too worried about all of it. I know that he did get called for a holding penalty. on that Ian Book rollout. It ended up resulting in a sack, so it kind of sucked both ways anyway. He has obvious talent. He's going to be a good starter, but for me, the big thing is the consistency. He's got to get consistent, and he has to have consistently good reps if he wants to, be a long-term answer and a long-term starter for this Saints defense.
So you don't think he's going to start right away?
I don't think that he'll start right away.
I don't think he should.
I think that, give it a few weeks, week 3, 4, 5, kind of see how he's feeling out. At training camp and at practices, he's had a little bit of issues with, finishing out blocks and stuff, and not playing through the whistle by any means, but consistently getting his job done correctly. And so I just think that there's, no reason in rushing him and getting him on the field when I think that, let him perfect the craft and then get on the field.
Yeah. I want to ask our audience this question. Do you think Trevor Penning will start week 1 for the New Orleans Saints? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Normally when you draft a rookie in the first round to be an offensive tackle, he's going to start. But for Penning, we don't know at this point. He still has some work to do. Type Y for yes or type N for no. Let's get to Ian Book. He played a majority of the game at quarterback tonight for the Saints. Is he on the hot seat? Some teams carry 2 quarterbacks. Some teams carry 3. He is the 3rd quarterback on this roster. We saw him last season for the Saints as well. Here's what he did tonight, 15 of 22, 121 yards, 1 interception. Not terrible, but also not great. Andy Dalton was great, though. 5 for 5, 51 yards, 1 touchdown, just 1 drive. So we saw Andy come in, do what he had to do, look consistent, look accurate, look poised, look like a pretty good leader when you're talking about him leading the offense down the field. That was the only drive we saw Dalton tonight. Now, should the Saints cut Ian Book? Jameis Winston is quarterback 1. You have Andy Dalton, QB2. Is Ian Book going to make this team as QB3, or are the Saints going to cut him? Type C for cut or type K for keep. Would not be surprised at this point to see Ian Book let go. I also wouldn't be surprised to see myself on BetUS a lot this season. You should do the same. Chatsports.com/bet. And if you use promo code CHAT125, you can get a 125% deposit bonus. And let me tell you, Saints fans, there is great value right now on the Saints to win the NFC North. A lot of people are taking the Bucs, and the Bucs just lost to the Dolphins tonight. Tom Brady's nowhere to be found, Trace. Tom Brady is nowhere to be found. Go and take Saints plus 325 at BetUS. Promo code CHAT125 for a 125% deposit bonus. That means if you put in $100, you will get $125 free dollars to bet with practically. Chatsports.com/bet. That link, that promo code is right there. Chatsports.com/bet. Here we go. Moving on to this linebacker battle. It's going to get interesting. We knew that coming in. Kiko Alonso not in that linebacker battle. He retired after 1 day. Chase Hansen, here's what he did tonight. Pretty solid game. 6 tackles, 1 interception, 1 pass breakup. He was extremely impressive. I mean, he went off, to say the least. He was great. Which is promising. You want to see that from your linebacker core because this is a unpredictable linebacker room right now. We don't know what's going to happen. Chase Hansen right now, we have him barely making this team if he does make the team. So it's going to be interesting to see. But Hansen, a guy that many consider to be on the roster bubble, he helped make a case for himself tonight. I think the defense looked great outside that last drive. I mean, whenever you give up just 17 points, the defense played pretty well. The last drive, not so much, but here is what the Saints defense did tonight against the Texans, the only game the Texans will win all year. It's not an exaggeration. 47 plays, 91 yards, passing yards, 94 rushing yards, and the Saints defense forced 3 turnovers. Pretty impressive performance from the Saints defense tonight. I liked what I saw from the defense. The offense still has a little bit of work to do. Justin Evans, here's what he did. 2 tackles, 1 interception, 1 pass breakup. Texas A&M guy, back, playing the team he probably grew up rooting for in the Texans. So pretty good performance from him. Chris Olave had 1 reception, 4 yards. Obviously, we're not going to see a lot of Olave. You want to keep him healthy, but he did record his first NFL reception tonight. And we bring back producer Trace. Trace, other thoughts that you took away?
Yeah, so just some kind of final thoughts. So just a note on the Chris Olave thing. He only had 15 snaps played. He was targeted once, so his one target did result in the reception for 4 yards. Justin Evans, he did have some really, really big hits in the running game. He did fill the defensive role pretty well there. He is on the roster bubble, so he's going to be a name that you're going to want to keep out for. Brian Allen, also shout out him. He recently just got signed out of the USL from the Birmingham Stallions, came down with a pretty big deep ball interceptions late in the fourth quarter. That last drive, DeMarcus Fields, really wish he didn't give up that deep ball. It's just, you can play great all game and your defense can do great all game, but you have to finish your supper.
100%.
And, I think that there's not too much to really take away in terms of, oh my gosh, this defense is bad, that we need to blow it up. There's that. There's some overreactions already on Twitter and stuff. But I think at the end of the day, you could take a lot of good from this team. You could take a lot of, a lot of what to work on moving forward with this combined practice with the Packers and the preseason game with the Packers, and move forward from there. I think it's just a matter of working out the kinks. It's the first preseason game. What are you gonna do? You gotta have the human element at some point in time, if you ask me.
Well, stay tuned, because we'll get you guys another video next week. When the Saints take the field once again, we'll be getting you guys videos like this each and every Saints game this season. That's why you should subscribe to the channel.
Hey, stay golden, Who Dat Nation. I'll catch you later.